Hey guys, what's up? Rulk here, back for smashing some more stuff. Today's video, I'm going to do a little series here, okay? So we're going to do a series because I'm finally at level 60, as you can see here on my screen. And I finally finished 100% of Act 4, which, if you've looked closely at the rewards section, means that I now have all of my mastery points. Let me see if I can get to that. So if you're not aware, rewards for Act 4, every time that you 100% each of the chapters, you're getting, boom, one of these. Mastery point, okay? So there's 4 chapters in this, which means that these each contain 1 mastery point, which of these, Act 4 gives you a total of 4 mastery points for 100%ing. So, I have all this now, and I thought I'd talk to you guys in a little series about what my current setup of masteries looks like and why, and kind of my play style and how it fits. So this is similar to what I've done in the past, but this time we're going to break it up into 3 series. This is phase 1. We're going to focus purely on offensive masteries at this point. So let's dive right in. So kind of the first ones here, if you don't know anything at all about masteries, you know, these are what's going to give you boosts and stuff towards your offensive abilities. So it's going to boost your attack and, you know, your critical hits, etc., 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 stuff like that. Basic stuff, okay? So the first couple ones, this is important. Strength and greater strength. Skip them. Do 1 point in each and let it be. Leave it at that. You don't need any more. Even if you're starting out the game, I still don't recommend putting anything into these. And, you know, in early stages, it just doesn't help anything. I mean, you're going to feel like it will at first, but it's not really. You're just going to reset them later and put them somewhere else. So just let them sit there, you know, in your bank of points to use. Whatever. So moving on from that, I used to have fully 3 points maxed out in Pierce. I finally let this go as an experiment because at 3 points in Pierce, it's reducing 15% armor. I don't feel like it's doing as much as it used to, and I'm talking about pre-12.0 patch. Now, I'm a little bit curious because of the system of diminishing returns where I believe the way it works is that the stats that you have are actually calculated and churned through a system of diminishing returns, so you're not actually affecting it that much. So, how do I want to say this? If it is truly a system of diminishing returns, if we look on a scale of 1 to 100% of their armor rating, okay, the first like 15 to 20% is going to have the most effect. Even though the number scales linearly, right, between 1 to 100, between 1 to 15 or 1 to 20 is actually going to be more effective than when you're at, what is it, 85% to 100%. You know, it's kind of going to do that plateau thing where it comes up like so, and then it levels out. So you've got a really steep climb in the beginning, and then it's just going to kind of level out as you go. And I think that's what's affecting it, because I took it off, and honestly, I didn't notice the damage difference. So I finally let that go to put some points elsewhere. But the major things you can see here, I still really like Courage. Some people don't feel it's necessary, but I think it is. And especially at this end game content, once you're at this level, a lot of times you're going to be fighting kind of down on health. I mean, granted, you're going to have skill. You're not going to get hit much, but when you get to the end game content, I mean, let's face it, they put stuff in there that's going to deplete your health even if you are playing good. Anybody fought Iceman yet? Yeah, so if you're going to be losing health, if you're going to be having to do a revive, or you're going to be playing at low health, this is really an enormous boost. This is massive. I mean, you just put 2 points in it, at least, is what I have. So I got the 15%. 1 point gets you 10, 2 points gets you 15. You can stretch for another 5%, get 20% boost, which is pretty big. But 15 is good enough for me. You know, it makes a noticeable difference once I get down in that lower health range. What is it? Below 50%, which is, you know, not uncommon. And it's good for boss killing and stuff when you're reviving and whatnot. Moving on from there, these are also stepping stone masteries, lesser precision, lesser cruelty. Just put 1 point and move on. The real ones you want to get to here is precision. So precision is increasing your critical rating of all champions. The critical rating is what determines whether or not a hit that you land will be a critical hit. It doesn't affect the amount of damage dealt by that critical hit. It just affects your chance to actually land a critical hit. So maxing this out is super super key. And again, I hate these flat arbitrary numbers of like 425. What does that mean? I don't know. Something in the diminishing returns thing. The point is, it's an increase, okay, and it's fairly big, okay. If we look at same thing with cruelty. I mean, we're going to get a 475 increase there. Again, this is probably your best two areas to spend points, especially at the beginning if you're building your masteries build. Definitely save your stony cores, save your units to get the stony cores and unlock these two as a priority. As far as offense goes, okay, these should be like one of your first two priorities is to get these unlocked. Okay, moving on from there, kind of go with the standard one that most people do is willpower, or I'm sorry, not willpower, glass cannon. So glass cannon, if you don't know what that's doing, is it's taking away a percentage of your health and giving you that percentage increase in your attack. So you're going to sacrifice some health in order to gain higher attack. Now, if you have skill in the game and you're going to play well, and you're going to parry well, and you're going to evade well, and maybe even do some intercepting. Basically, if you're not going to be getting hit and taking hits, this is fine. You don't need health. It's just there as a cushion for parries at that point to just keep you alive for more fights while you're doing what you're supposed to be doing right. But the plus side is you gain a constant 7.2% increase in your attack, which is pretty substantial. And you can imagine you take that and you stack on top your courage. So once you're down into that minus 50% range, now you're at, I have 2 points, 15% plus 7.2. That's 22.2% attack increase, under 50%. That's really good. It's extremely noticeable. You turn that on, I tell you, you will notice it. I just have 1 point in despair here. Debuffs applied to enemies reduce their healing and regeneration effects by 5% each. I don't feel like it's really worth investing more of these carbonadium cores because they are so damn expensive. It takes so much saving of units to get them, and I just don't feel like it's super worth it. When there's other methods to get around healing and regeneration most of the time, not always, but most of the time, and that'll come in a later series when we talk about utility. But moving on here, we have Deep Wounds. I'm a big fan of Deep Wounds, especially if you have heavy bleed characters. For example, Gwenpool, X-23, Wolverine, Black Panther, Classic. Anybody who's basically dishing out potential bleeds on normal attacks. Because what this is going to do is it's going to extend the length of every one of those bleeds. Or if you have somebody who has a heavy bleed on a special attack, Electra's a good option as well. She doesn't do bleeds on her normal attacks, but on her special attacks she does some pretty heavy bleeds. So you can take the damage that's divided out across its given time duration, and it's going to extend it by 2.5 seconds. So that's quite a bit, especially if you have bleeds that have high damage and short duration. By extending it 2.5 seconds, that can be a lot of extra damage. And they're just going to stay active longer, which, for cases like X-23 is going to give you a lot of benefit there to keep those bleeds active so that you can gain the other effects she gets while she has, a whole bunch of active bleeds. And then, so if they have, if the attacker, so if you, excuse me, if you have more health points than the target, than your opponent, then the bleed instantly strikes down an additional 1% max health from enemies. Now, I'll show you the chart here of what it is through the different levels. And the costs for these are high. I think every level is 1 carbonadium core and 2 stonies for every level. It's a lot, guys. It's a lot. But you can see the progression here. So, look at it and decide where you think you need to. It's really based on how much of your roster is involving champions that have some form of bleed and the ones that you will use actively. If you have this, it can really shorten up some fights very quickly, especially if you're going for a Realm of Legends run. Um, I used that along with my X23, and I just eviscerated everybody that came in my way. So that's great. And then once you get them down, like it shows there below that, your health points, so they have less health points, you're going to be chopping down 1% max health every time you trigger a bleed. So if you got somebody like Black Panther Classic and he's triggering lots of bleeds, albeit small bleeds, but he's triggering lots of them, you know, I mean, if you trigger 5 bleed stacks, that's 5% of their health gone in addition to the damage it's dealing. That's pretty significant. But if you don't have bleed characters, invest it somewhere else. You know, I have a lot of them, so that's why I have mine there. And then my last one here is Assassin. This is another one that took a lot of savings and time and effort to get to, but it is so worth it if you ask me. So basically what Assassin is doing is when they get to a range, when your opponent gets to a range of 18% health or less, this kicks in and your champions gain 60% attack and decrease enemies' defensive ability accuracy by 20%. That's huge. Okay, so 60% is massive. And if you take that, if you're below 50% health yourself, okay, so courage kicks in, and we have glass cannon. Between these, that's 82.5% increase in your attack once you're down here. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And you notice it. You do see it, especially if you fire off a nice big, level 2 special or something. Right once they get into that 18% range, you're going to notice a massive boost into the damage. And then it definitely does affect your critical hits as well, big time there. And then there's got the ability accuracy reduction as well. And ability accuracy reduction is so key in today's game, especially at the high content where there's so many ridiculous boosts, so many ridiculous nodes and abilities that are just annoying, and the only way to get around them is to kind of squash them with ability accuracy reduction. So this is going to give you 20% right there at the end. So people like, you're facing off Iron Man and he's got his arc overload thing, that's a regen, that is a defensive ability. Right there. So, and that I believe triggers once he gets to about 10 or 18%. So it's pretty close to this range. So you're gonna have a good chance of stopping him from triggering that. Same with Wolverine. Any heavy regen champs like that, or hell, even Magic. With her Limbo. I mean, you're gonna have a 20% reduction of her trigger for Limbo when she's in that 18% health range. I realize it's a small range. Seems like a small range of 18%, but when you're fighting these really big bosses that are boosted like massive, they're starting out with 200,000 health or 150,000 health. 18% is a pretty massive chunk of that you still have to chip away at. So, it can really speed up that end part of the fight, especially where once you get into long duration fights, the longer you go, the more you tend to get to that zone where you start to screw up when you just keep repetitively doing the same thing over and over. So it helps kind of push you through the end really well. So that's it for now. That's my mastery setup. I'll scroll that back over here in case anybody wants to get a handy-dandy little screenshot. That's Rulk's mastery setup at level 60. So this is all the mastery points that you can currently get in the game. This is right before the release of version 15.0. We'll see what they do in the future. Maybe they'll add some more. I mean, they've got all this stuff out here to the side, which is, these coming soon mystery things. I think these have been there since I started playing the game a year and a half ago, so they haven't done anything with it. But that's my current setup. As you can see there, a little preview for the future videos. Offense, I have 31 points total. Defense, I only have 12. And utility, I only have 16. So my build is very heavily offensive. And I find this works well because I just play it to a style where I don't get hit. And I play very aggressively in their face. I like to end fights pretty quickly. And I rely a lot on my ability to evade like crazy to save my ass so I'm not getting hit and stuff like that. So that's what I got. So if you liked the video, please leave a like below. I really, really appreciate that. Hit subscribe. Really trying to push that subscribers up. We really need some subscribers and some views. You guys are awesome. I appreciate everybody who subscribes currently. Really can't tell you how much I appreciate that. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. There'll be a link at the end of this video for the next one in the series, okay? So make sure to check that out. We'll be talking next about defense. So, yeah, this is Rulk. Thanks for coming. Smash some more stuff again real soon. See you guys.